Senator Warner told us no decisions have been made about whether Kushner's testimony will be given in public or under oath. Elaine, the senator had no opinion on White House explanation that Kushner's interactions with the Russians were strictly routine.
Well, Major, what do we know about the history of Vladimir Putin's involvement with VEB Bank, and how might that be relevant potentially to these investigations taking place?
So we're all doing kind of a case study as this story develops into large Russian banks, their intricate at times relationship with powerful figures within the Russian government, and how the Russian government and some of these large banks actually fuel the Russian economy. So Vladimir Putin, when he was prime minister, and even before that, had a very large role in VEB, this financial clearinghouse, bank and development bank. And Russian President Vladimir Putin now was for a time prime minister. But he had a long role in VEB, creating lots of development projects in Russia, awarding lots of big loans to oligarchs and friends of his in political and financial terms, and, for example, pouring billions of dollars into the Sochi Winter Olympics in 2014. This is all part of what many Russia watchers have said is part and parcel of Putin's approach to power. Get yourself involved in large financial institutions, use those financial institutions to reward your friends, to invest in things that you believe are the part of greater Russia's identity on the world stage. That's where the Sochi 2014 Winter Olympics fit in. And to use these development banks to perhaps increase or maybe make stronger your own political power within Russia. All of this is part of a long arc of Vladimir Putin's both approach to politics and maintenance of political clout in Russia. Now this brings us to what the FBI and the intelligence community has said was a concerted effort during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, signed off on by Russian President Vladimir Putin, to meddle with this election and to disrupt in ways never before seen the processes and the undertaking of a U.S. presidential election. So Jared Kushner meets with this head of the VEB Development Bank. The White House says it was a benign, routine interaction carried out as part of Kushner's role within the transition assigned to him by President-elect Trump to talk to lots of different people about lots of different topics. Jared Kushner at the time of this meeting was still head of his real estate and media company. Now, he could not have done any business with VEB, the development bank. Why? Because it was already under economic sanctions imposed by the Obama administration. So it would have been illegal for any U.S. business person, Jared Kushner or otherwise, to do business with VEB Bank. So it wasn't about business. What was it about? Was it about something dealing with the future Trump administration? We simply do not know. I had a long interview with Mark Warner, who's the Democratic vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, the committee to which Kushner will soon testify. And he was very closed-lipped about what the implications of this meeting might be, how it fits into that Senate Intelligence Committee investigation. All he said was, there's lots of different strands to this. We want to be fair with Jared Kushner. We want to give him an opportunity to give his explanation before the committee. And as I said, Elaine, it's not even clear yet if Kushner's testimony will be given in public or under oath. That's still being negotiated and worked on. But Kushner is very close to this president. This now moves one aspect of the Russian inquiry in the 2016 election ever closer to the Oval Office.
Meantime, Major, Jared Kushner is also taking on a new role in the Trump administration. He's going to be leading the new White House Office of American Innovation. What can you tell us about that?
Well, this has been in the works for a good long while, and Jared Kushner getting the role sort of puts him front and center of some work that within the White House and the West Wing has been going on for the better part of 3 weeks. And essentially the idea is to bring what this president likes to call Trumpian efficiency ahead of schedule, under budget, to the federal government. He's not the first American president to try to make the federal government more efficient and more cost-effective. Ronald Reagan tried it in his own way. Bill Clinton tried it. George W. Bush did. And Barack Obama, in their own ways, trying to bring either technological efficiencies or the idea of business organization to make the federal government more efficient. Lots of presidents have tried it. President Trump is now a part of that long list of efforts. The specifics that the White House has identified up front are to deal with the Veterans Administration and possibly make infrastructure spending, should Congress ever allocate funds for it, a bit more efficient, a bit more cost effective. It's a White House task. It's a White House position. It's got a nice fancy title, but there's going to be a tremendous amount of work that this White House is going to have to achieve with the private sector to bring any of these ideas to large and very entrenched federal bureaucracies to make any noticeable difference. And it is reflective of one thing, Elaine, the timing of this. The White House suffered a conspicuous and bitter legislative defeat on Friday. On Monday, what does it say? We're going to take charge of things here within the executive branch and not mess with Congress. In this one respect, it has some latitude, but not much.
Interesting context. Major Garrett at the White House for us. Major, thanks so much.
Sure.